Did you know that 68% of women over 60 are wearing accessories that unintentionally overshadow their natural elegance rather than highlight it? I discovered this surprising truth when I met Susan, a lively 62-year-old from Seattle, who transformed her whole look with one tiny tweak. "I used to feel like my accessories were wearing me," she admitted, "until my best friend pointed out they were stealing my shine." Within days of rethinking her choices, Susan was turning heads at her book club and loving the compliments. Here's the thing. As we age, our style evolves, but many of us cling to accessories that worked decades ago. The right pieces can lift your look instantly, while others might be quietly weighing you down. Today, I'll share 5 accessories you might want to reconsider and, more importantly, what to try instead for that effortless glow you deserve. Before we dive in, tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more tips to shine in your wisdom years. Let's kick things off with a surprising accessory that might be hiding in your jewelry box: chunky plastic bangles. To bring this to life, let me introduce you to Ellen, a spirited 66-year-old from Austin, Texas, whose love for these bold, colorful wrist adornments was practically legendary in her circle. "I thought they screamed fun," she confessed to me during a cozy chat over coffee, her eyes lighting up with nostalgia as she recalled the vibrant stacks she'd worn for years. "But then my daughter dropped a truth bomb. She said they made me look dated." Ouch. That moment of honesty stopped Ellen in her tracks. And honestly, her story resonates with so many women I've spoken to over the years. It's one of those lightbulb moments where you realize something you've clung to might not be serving you anymore. Those big, clunky plastic bangles, oh, they might have been an absolute blast back in the 80s when neon was king and shoulder pads ruled the fashion world. They jingled with every move, adding a playful soundtrack to your day, and they felt like a statement of youthful rebellion. But here's the catch. For women over 60, these once beloved accessories can start to feel like they're working against you rather than for you. Picture this. Mature wrists, which have earned their grace through decades of living, suddenly overwhelmed by these oversized, rigid rings of plastic. Instead of highlighting the elegance you've cultivated, they can pull focus in all the wrong ways, almost like they're shouting over your natural poise. And it's not just about size, there's a texture issue at play too. That hard, unyielding plastic can feel jarring against softening skin tones, which naturally shift as we age into something more delicate and nuanced. If you've got silver hair, those stunning strands you've earned like a crown, it's even trickier. The stark contrast between the bold bangles and your shimmering locks can dull their sophisticated glow, turning a feature you adore into something that feels overshadowed. Or maybe you're carrying a fuller figure. As many of us do with pride, those chunky bangles can act like a spotlight, drawing attention to areas you'd rather let blend gracefully into the background. It's like they're putting up a neon sign where you'd prefer a soft, flattering glow. But hold on, don't despair and toss out the whole idea of wrist candy just yet. There's a beautiful solution waiting in the wings. And Ellen discovered it with a little nudge from her daughter's candid feedback. She swapped out those heavy, dated bangles for something far more flattering: delicate gold or silver cuffs. Imagine sleek, simple bands that catch the light with a soft, subtle sheen, not overpowering, but enhancing. "It's like my wrists got a glow up." Ellen laughed when she told me about the switch, her voice brimming with delight. And she's right, those lighter, more refined pieces bring an effortless elegance that feels just right for this stage of life. They don't demand attention, they invite it in a way that complements your natural grace. These delicate cuffs are versatile little wonders too. Picture them paired with a cozy casual sweater for a laid-back coffee date, or slipping them on with an evening dress for a special night out. They work their magic either way. When you're shopping for your own, look for a thin cuff with a hint of texture, maybe a gentle etching or a tiny charm detail, to add that modern twist without losing the timeless appeal. Ellen's transformation is proof that small changes can make a big difference. And I bet many of you have felt that shift too. So, I'm curious. Have you noticed those chunky bangles feeling less you lately? Maybe they've started to clash with the woman you've become. Or perhaps you're ready for something new. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories and insights. Your experience might just spark inspiration for someone else on the same journey. Next on our accessory journey, let's dive into a piece that might be dangling from your jewelry collection: oversized costume earrings. To set the stage, allow me to introduce Diane, a fabulous 70-year-old from Charleston, South Carolina, whose love for her giant, sparkly hoops was the stuff of local legend. They made me feel glamorous, she told me with a twinkle in her eye, her southern drawl wrapping around the words like a warm hug. She'd worn those bold, glittering hoops for years, feeling like a star every time they swayed with her step. But, she added with a thoughtful pause, I started noticing they tugged at my ears and dulled my smile. That little revelation crept up on her, and it's a sentiment I've heard echoed by so many women in their wisdom years. Diane's story is a classic example of how something we adore can quietly stop serving us as time moves forward. So, what's the deal with those oversized costume earrings? Picture them. Heavy, eye-catching, maybe studded with rhinestones or swinging in dramatic loops. Statement pieces that once felt like the perfect finishing touch. They were your go-to for turning heads at parties or adding flair to a simple outfit. But here's why they can become a challenge for women over 60. Those hefty, oversized designs can stretch earlobes over time, and mature skin, beautifully earned through decades of laughter and life, doesn't bounce back the way it once did. That tugging sensation Diane felt? It's not just discomfort, it's a subtle shift that can alter the shape of your earlobes, making them longer and less defined. And then there's the size factor. These bold earrings don't just complement your face, they compete with it. Instead of framing your features like a gentle spotlight, they steal the show, pulling attention away from the radiance you've cultivated over the years. For Diane, the realization hit hard. Her beloved hoops were hiding her radiant complexion rather than enhancing it. That natural glow she'd always prided herself on, the one that lit up a room, was being overshadowed by the very accessory meant to lift her up. They dulled her smile, casting a shadow where there should have been light, and she hadn't even noticed how much until she took a closer look. But here's the beauty of it, there's a fix. And it's simpler than you might think. Diane traded in those heavy hoops for something transformative. Dainty drop earrings in pearls or gemstones. Suddenly, people saw me, not my earrings, she beams, her voice brimming with pride as she described the shift. And oh, what a shift it was. Those smaller, lightweight treasures didn't just ease the strain on her ears, they lifted her features, bringing a fresh, sophisticated sparkle that felt like a rediscovery of herself. These dainty drop earrings are pure magic for women over 60. They're subtle yet striking, offering a touch of elegance that works across the board, whether your skin tone leans fair, medium, or deep, or your hair shines silver, brunette, or anything in between. Imagine them catching the light with a soft shimmer, drawing eyes upward to your smile instead of weighing you down. Diane found that a pair with a hint of sparkle, maybe a tiny gemstone, added just the right amount of pizzazz, while classic pearls brought timeless elegance she could wear anywhere, from a Charleston garden party to a quiet dinner with friends. If you're ready to try them, look for drops that dance lightly, reflecting light without overwhelming your natural beauty. Diane's glow up is proof that less can be so much more. Now, I'm dying to know, what's your go-to earring style? Have those oversized costume pieces started feeling like they're wearing you instead of the other way around? Drop your favorites, or your own earring epiphanies, in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you're making your sparkle work for you these days. Your story might just inspire someone else to rethink their jewelry box too. Now, let's turn our attention to an accessory that might be cinching your wardrobe in more ways than one: wide patent leather belts. To bring this to life, let me introduce you to Carla, a vibrant 64-year-old from Miami, Florida, whose sunny energy matches the city she calls home. Carla was a die-hard fan of her shiny black patent leather belt, a trusty companion she'd relied on for years to pull every outfit together. I thought it gave me shape, she confided to me one humid afternoon, her voice tinged with the confidence of someone who'd mastered the art of dressing for Miami's endless summer. But then my sister piped up and said it looked like a costume piece. That blunt honesty from her sister hit Carla like a tropical breeze, unexpected but impossible to ignore. And trust me, Carla's experience isn't unique. It's a wake-up call I've heard from so many women who've clung to this 90s staple a little too long. Let's paint the picture of those wide patent leather belts for a moment. Picture that glossy, high-shine finish, sleek, bold, and unapologetic. The kind of accessory that strutted onto the fashion scene in the 90s alongside power suits and platform shoes. Back then, they were the ultimate tool to carve out a waistline, adding structure and a touch of drama to any look. Carla loved how hers snapped her outfits into place, giving her a defined silhouette she could feel proud of. But here's where the trouble sneaks in for women over 60. Those glossy, wide belts can start to feel too stark and rigid against mature figures. As our bodies evolve, beautifully carrying the stories of our lives, they don't always play nice with such a stiff, uncompromising accessory. Instead of enhancing your natural curves, they can emphasize areas we'd rather soften, especially if you're carrying a few extra pounds, as so many of us do with grace and no apologies. And it's not just about fit, there's a visual clash too. That high-shine surface acts like a beacon, drawing unwanted attention to your midsection with all the subtlety of a spotlight on a stage. For Carla, that glossy black belt wasn't just defining her waist, it was practically shouting, pulling eyes exactly where she didn't want them. Plus, there's the texture mismatch to consider. Aging skin, with its rich, natural patina, doesn't always harmonize with the slick, artificial sheen of patent leather. It's like pairing a fine wine with a plastic cup. Something's just off. Carla hadn't realized how much this belt was working against her until her sister's comment made her take a second look in the mirror. But here's the exciting part. Carla didn't give up on belts altogether. She found a better way forward. She swapped out that rigid, shiny relic for soft suede or woven belts in warm, inviting tones like tan or charcoal. It's like my waistline relaxed into elegance, she says, her face lighting up as she describes the difference. And oh, what a difference it is. These gentler options don't fight your figure, they work with it, defining your shape with a softness that feels effortless and modern. The suede brushes against your skin like a whisper, while the woven styles add a touch of texture that's both chic and forgiving. Carla found they blended beautifully with her wardrobe. Whether she was rocking casual jeans for a beachside stroll or a flowing dress for a Miami evening out, they're versatile, flattering, and, best of all, comfortable. When you're on the hunt for your own, look for a belt with a subtle buckle, a small, polished detail that ties it all together without stealing the show. Carla's switch proved that elegance doesn't need to scream, it can whisper and still turn heads. So, I'm curious, have you struggled with wide belts lately? Maybe they've started feeling more like a costume than a compliment to your style. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories. Your experience might just spark a lightbulb moment for someone else ready to rethink their waistline game. Our fourth stop on this accessory adventure brings us to a wardrobe piece that might be tying your style in knots: overly busy patterned scarves. To set the scene, let me introduce you to Priya, a graceful 68-year-old from San Francisco, whose refined presence seems to echo the city's foggy charm. Priya had a deep affection for her bright, swirling scarves, each one a cascade of colors and patterns that danced around her neck. They felt like art, she told me with a warm smile, her voice carrying the pride of someone who saw these accessories as wearable masterpieces. She'd collected them over the years, draping them over her shoulders like a painter's canvas. But, she added with a soft chuckle, my granddaughter piped up one day and said they made me look chaotic. That candid remark from her granddaughter hit Priya like a San Francisco breeze, gentle but impossible to ignore. And it's a sentiment I've heard from so many women reflecting on their accessory choices. Let's unpack those overly busy patterned scarves for a moment. Picture them: vivid reds, swirling paisleys, clashing florals, or geometric shapes tumbling over one another in a riot of design. They're loud, intricate, and eye-catching. Scarves that once felt like the perfect way to inject personality into an outfit. Priya loved how they turned a simple sweater or dress into something bold and unique. A statement that whispered creativity with every fold. But here's the truth that sneaks up on us as we move into our wisdom years. Those vibrant, complex patterns can overwhelm mature skin tones. The rich texture of aging skin, earned through decades of living, deserves to shine on its own. But these scarves create a distracting jumble instead of a chic accent. For Priya, with her stunning silver hair framing her face like a halo, the chaotic designs clashed rather than complemented, dulling the sophistication she'd cultivated over time. And it's not just about skin and hair, there's a silhouette issue too. If you're carrying a fuller figure, as many of us do with pride, those busy patterns can add visual bulk rather than streamline your look. Imagine the scarf swirling around your shoulders, its loud motifs piling on extra weight where you'd prefer a sleeker line. It's like hanging a bustling abstract painting where a simple frame would do. Priya hadn't realized how much these scarves were working against her until her granddaughter's innocent honesty made her pause and reconsider. They weren't enhancing her elegance, they were overpowering it, turning a graceful accent into something that felt more like noise than harmony. But here's the wonderful twist. Priya didn't abandon scarves altogether, she simply found a better path. She discovered that switching to solid silk scarves in rich, soulful shades like emerald or soft rose changed everything. Now I feel put together, not overdone, she shares, her eyes lighting up as she describes the transformation. And oh, what a transformation it was. These simpler scarves don't compete with her natural beauty, they lift it. A single, vibrant hue near her face adds a pop of color that brightens her complexion, drawing attention to her warm smile and silver hair in all the right ways. The elegance stays intact, unmarred by unnecessary clutter, and the result is a look that's polished yet effortless, just the way Priya likes it. When you're ready to try this yourself, opt for a lightweight silk scarf with a subtle sheen, something that catches the light without shouting. Drape it loosely for a relaxed vibe or knot it neatly for a touch of structure. Either way, it's a game changer. Priya's go-to emerald scarf became her signature, pairing beautifully with everything from jeans to a tailored blazer. So, I'm curious, what's your scarf style? Have those busy patterns started feeling more chaotic than chic? Share your discoveries in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you're weaving scarves into your look these days. Your story might just inspire someone else to simplify and shine. Finally, let's wrap up our accessory journey with a piece that might be weighing down your style more than you realize. Heavy statement necklaces. To bring this to life, let me introduce you to Joanne, a dynamic 71-year-old from Chicago, whose energy could light up the Windy City on its gloomiest day. Joanne cherished her chunky, beaded necklaces, treasures she'd collected over the years that draped across her collarbone like bold declarations. I thought they shouted confidence, she said with a hearty laugh, her voice carrying the conviction of someone who'd worn them like a badge of honor through decades of life's ups and downs. But then my friends started dropping hints. They said they were aging me. That subtle nudge from her crew caught Joanne off guard. And it's a story so relatable to countless women I've met. It's that moment when you realize a beloved accessory might not be singing the same tune it once did. Picture those heavy statement necklaces for a second. Big, bold, and unapologetic. Maybe they're studded with oversized beads, woven with intricate metalwork, or layered with chunky charms that clink with every step. Back in the day, they were Joanne's go-to for turning a plain blouse into a powerhouse look. Radiating strength and personality, she'd stride into a room, and those necklaces would announce her arrival before she even said a word. But here's where the shift happens for women over 60. Those weighty pieces can pull focus downward in ways we don't always intend. They draw the eye to necklines or posture changes, those natural evolutions of mature bodies we'd rather soften than spotlight. For Joanne, they weren't just sitting pretty anymore. They were tugging her look in a direction that felt less flattering than she'd hoped. And it's not just about where the eye lands, there's a comfort factor too. Mature skin, with its delicate texture honed by time, doesn't always play nice with heavy, cumbersome jewelry. Joanne started noticing the weight, that slight drag against her neck that left her fidgeting instead of feeling fabulous. Then there's the clash with silver hair, those stunning strands she'd earned like a crown of wisdom. The bold, bulky designs didn't harmonize with their sophistication. Instead, they competed, dulling the elegant shimmer she loved. It was a subtle betrayal she hadn't clocked until her friends' hints made her take a closer look. Those necklaces weren't shouting confidence anymore, they were whispering something outdated. But here's the magic twist. Joanne didn't ditch necklaces entirely. She traded up for something that worked with her, not against her. She swapped those heavy statement pieces for layered delicate chains with small pendants. It's like my neckline lifted, she beams, her face glowing with the delight of rediscovery. And oh, what a lift it was. These lighter necklaces, think fine gold or silver strands with a tiny charm dangling here or there, add sparkle without overwhelm. They don't demand attention, they invite it gently, letting Joanne's natural vibrancy take center stage. The weightlessness felt like freedom, and the subtle shine played beautifully with her silver hair, enhancing rather than clashing. They flattered her, no matter her body type or skin tone, proving that elegance doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. When you're ready to try this yourself, mix 2 or 3 fine chains for a modern, age-appropriate look. maybe one with a small gem, another with a simple pendant. Joanne found them versatile enough for Chicago's bustling days or quiet evenings, pairing them with everything from sweaters to dresses. It's a small tweak with a big payoff. So, I've got to ask, have statement necklaces lost their spark for you? Maybe they've started feeling more like anchors than accents. Tell me in the comments. I'd love to hear your take. Your story might just light the way for someone else ready to lift their look too. As we wrap up our accessory journey, remember these aren't rigid rules but invitations to play with what makes you shine. We've seen how switching from chunky bangles to delicate cuffs, oversized earrings to dainty drops, wide belts to soft suede, busy scarves to solid silks, and heavy necklaces to layered chains can elevate your style after 60. The key is choosing pieces that enhance your natural elegance, not eclipse it. Start small. Maybe try one new accessory this week. Hold it up in natural light. See how it feels, and trust your instincts. Which of these tips sparked something for you? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your accessory stories. Don't forget to subscribe for more style advice that celebrates your wisdom years. The most radiant accessory? The confidence you wear with it.